So the way, from an educational standpoint, I tend to divide the big bucket of nutrition into two things: nutrition and fueling. So if we think about nutrition being your meals, your snacks, so your daily eating habits, and the fueling being the calories that you consume during or after a workout. I think for a consistently training athlete or someone that is consistently exercising in life, the number one, it outstrips everything else. The number one would be failing to consume calories immediately following the workout. And it has multiple roles on that. And I won't go too much into it, but there is this collision of a lot of trends and research and life hacking around intermittent fasting and reduced eating windows. And a lot of it's really interesting. But for people, you have to come out of the lab a little bit and say, let's talk about how people live their life, how they are training for something, and how they actually set up their habits around eating. And we are playing a game of stress management the whole way through. And we want to have, during our daily life, training adaptations, and we want to have energy in the day to go about our life. And very consistently, if let's say that someone is working out in the morning and you put them in deficit and you do not consume calories, a cascade of negative effect happens: impaired recovery, impaired refueling for subsequent workouts, starvation signals that occur that tends to lead to less favorable eating choices later in the day, overconsumption, but also overconsumption of starchy carbohydrates that cause fatigue. And the athlete comes out of the stressful training with high cortisol and stress hormones, and by not consuming some protein doesn't naturally stunt those hormones. And so post-workout fueling is a really good habit we could do a whole show on that, but a really good habit, I think, for people. And it comes from anyone that is exercising consistently, and very much then becomes a critical around the catalyst for proper eating habits for an athlete as well. So that will be number one. Number two, sort of aligned to that, is for a whole host of reasons, but breakfast being the most important meal of the day. I like athletes to consume a really good breakfast. It can be post-workout if you're exercising in the morning, but that provides the energy for the day, the energy for the brain, because our brains rely on energy, stabilization, and tends to be easier for people to manage controlled eating throughout the day. And then for an endurance athlete, one thing that's a little more that maybe 5 years ago I wouldn't have said, but has said now, is the underestimating our protein needs as a high training endurance athlete. We always think about bodybuilders requiring protein and pumping themselves up, but endurance sport is a catabolic sport, and protein is a really important component. And I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw a really interesting thing from a British nutritionist that works with a lot of the sports teams in the UK, a lot of the Premiership. And he said a nice thing. Imagine you're going into the buffet, you've got a big plate. First thing you do is go and get a good source of protein. Then, depending on whether it's after a workout or not after a workout, is whether you then go and get your big starch or you go and get your veggies. And that's what you fill the plate with. And then you supplement with the reverse. So he kind of has a performance meal and a sort of more life energy meal, health meal. And the folks that we utilize a lot, in fact, there's a great Australian nutritionist, a part of a company called Fuel In. His name is Scott Tyndall. Did a lot of work in professional rugby, the America's Cup team in sailing, British rowing, a lot of the pro triathletes right now. He has a similar stoplight system for that, which I think is absolutely genius. So yeah, protein needed, breakfast being an important meal of the day, post-workout fueling. Hi, I'm Matt Dixon with Purple Patch Fitness, the founder and the head coach. Try and help people perform in life, but also bring a little bit of life to their athletics. And you are listening to the Physical Performance Show.